Hey, what's up? This is Archway here. Another season means another huge number of sneaker releases and collaborations. It feels like so many brands are really pushing all kinds of new silhouettes, collabs, etc. out of the door. Feels like the world of sneakers is very much in flux at the moment. A lot of people vying for the crown. But that's good for us because it means more releases for us to enjoy, more variety when it comes to choosing our summer pickups, and a greater variety of what's deemed fashionable or on trend, to the point I think there's less pressure to own particular hyped models. I have a pretty huge list of sneakers I want to talk about, so we won't waste any time. Let's take a look at some of the coolest recent and upcoming sneakers. First, I might as well mention my own recent pickup before going into the big list. Salomon continue to be in vogue, and it's the XT4 and the XT6 that are continuing to be extremely popular models. SS22 saw release of a bunch of new colorways. I feel like there were as many hits as misses in these. Colors like the all black ones, the natural color, sold out pretty quickly, leaving some very bold and crazy colors which I feel like a lot of people are not that into. But between those two extremes, I happened upon these, the Apricot colorway, which I think is super nice. You've got this desaturated purple which provides that nice little bit of contrast, and I think the color here is enough that it stands out. It's pretty bold, but doesn't actually clash with stuff. I feel it looks really nice with olive pants and cargos, which are quite popular at the moment. So I found these super easy to wear. Also, they're extremely comfortable, particularly with this quick release lace system, so I would definitely recommend these. Nike ACG dropped an update to the Mountain Fly Low GTX, which I wanted to mention because they were pretty popular the last time they released. Maybe a bit hot for summer, especially with that Gore-Tex lining, but no doubt they'll look great in all kinds of techwear fits. The changes between this version and the old ones are relatively minor as well, so if you like the previous release, you'll probably like these ones as well. From ACG to ISPA and a brand new release, yes, the experimental Nike line is back for this year with the ISPA Link. They've just released at some retailers. It's common for ISPA stuff to have some unusual functionality, and with this, the midsole and the upper can be totally split apart because the two are not bonded with glue in any way. They have these little sort of connecting straps which can be totally removed. Two useful benefits of this: well, you can switch the uppers to create some new and interesting colorways. At the moment there's only two, so you can mix and match, but hey, maybe there'll be more. And crucially, it makes the shoe easier to recycle because you can pull those different bits apart and then reuse them in different ways. One of the many different ways Nike is experimenting with different angles on sustainability. This does kind of come at the expense of looks, in that the ISPA Link is a pretty weird looking shoe, even by my standards, but I always appreciate the existence of experimental stuff like this, even if it's not for everyone. This would be a great thing to review and look at in more detail, but that high retail price, it's kind of hard to stomach, not gonna lie. Let's look at a different angle. It's no surprise that outdoor fashion has continued to inspire SS22 trends, and brands are definitely responding to that. One nice example is the ASICS and Andersson Bell HN2S Protoblast. You might remember we talked about the Protoblast in the last video, a model created with input from Kiko Kostadinov's team, and now they've been upgraded with these auxiliary laces, making them look immediately more technical and harking back to March last year with their previous release with the Gel 1090. Good use of unusual colours here, making them look immediately very different to the already quite bold debut of the silhouette. Some very cool product shots for these as well. It seems like these have had a limited release so far, but not dropped to all retailers, so I'd keep a lookout to see if there's a wider release of these. Another ASICS release I quite liked was this collab with a Fuse store. This is the GT2 in a nice multi-tone colourway that has a kind of tactile, cozy look about it. Mega easy to wear as well because of the silhouette and the colours involved. I always find myself gravitated to collaborations which change the texture and the feel of things as well as just the colour. Quite similar, there's a Jound collab planned. It doesn't have a release date yet, but in similar fashion to their previous collaborations, it's very detail oriented, it's got really nice clean tonal colourways, but just with those slight updates that are really going to make it appeal to those die-hard fans. These collabs are often about understated cool. That's definitely the case here. Maybe you're thinking at this point, wow, didn't Antwon spend a lot of time online browsing for all these shoes? You're dang right I did, and thanks to this week's paid sponsor Opera, I've been using a whole new browser to do it on. And this is actually for good reason, because it comes with something pretty handy for fashion, sneaker, online shopping stuff called pin boards. So I've literally been right-clicking sneakers that I like and saving them to a categorized board where I can check back on them later. And you can share that whole page, and you don't need to make an account or log in or do any of this stuff. You can literally just start using it and start sharing it. I'll share my sneakers one in the description so you can see all of the stuff I talk about in this video, and I'll add in a couple of extra ones too. You guys can even emoji react to the ones you like the most. Feels like a very easy and natural evolution of bookmarking things, and definitely better than keeping 100 tabs open of all the stuff you were thinking about buying. In-browser screenshot tool is another mega quick way of sharing content with people, especially because you can turn things into memes in like 5 seconds. So I'm going to become absolutely insufferable to anyone I communicate with online. It really feels built for multitasking, which I like. Check the sidebar. Hey, you've got easy access to messaging apps so you can chat to people without needing to tab out of what you're doing. You can set up multiple workspaces, essentially tab groups, to keep your browsing more organized, and control music in browser. I pretty much listen to music 24/7, so the easier access I have to that stuff, the better. Pretty seamless to give it a go as well, because you can import all your older browser settings with one click. If that sounds useful, you know there's going to be a link in the description. Have a look down there. Let me know what you think. I genuinely found this stuff pretty handy, so if you're a desktop power user hacker man like myself, then maybe you will as well. Thanks again to Opera for being the paid sponsors of the video. Let's get back to looking at some sneakers though, with the Converse and a Cold Wall Sponge CX Crater. This is a pretty wild one. It's a totally new shape combining crater foam and a knitted upper. The result? Absolutely space age. The crater foam itself literally looks like moon craters. I'd love to see this in an appropriately moon rock looking colour. I like how this combines the sock shoe trend of years gone by, stuff like the Nike Sock Racer, the more recent trend for water mocs and Croc style shoes, and of course some of the A Cold Wall secret sauce flavour in there as well. You can definitely see the references both to the previous Converse collaboration and some of their other clothing in a more general sense. I covered the last release in detail on the channel, and it's good to see the brand is continuing to do some pretty unique and experimental things in the world of sneakers. If you are big on that Croc shoe trend, there are of course options for you. This is not the first time I've mentioned the Merrell Hydro Moc, but they've been quietly gaining more and more attention in the shadow of Crocs. I personally love the look of these. There are some interesting marbled colorways you could take a look at as well. Pricing is pretty reasonable too, making these a good choice if you want to experiment. Also significantly less hyped than the similar Crocs and Salehe Bembury collab, which every time they drop sell out immediately and end up on StockX at a big premium. There were some that just dropped, but there are more colorways coming, so be patient if you are keen on those. On a similar wave, Adidas presents the new Adilette following the Yeezy slide aesthetic so much that Kanye called them out on Instagram. However, this does represent an easy and more affordable way to get into that kind of aesthetic, and I've got to admit I don't mind the Minecraft pixelated look. Just need them in a diamond colorway so I can get that armor bonus. I'll come back to a few more sandals later, because we can't do a sneaker video in 2022 without talking about New Balance. Yes, they are riding the wave of hype right now with a bunch of popular releases. As I record this, the Aime Leon d'Or 550s are about to drop. Previous versions have been mega popular, I'm sure these will be no different. They tread the line deftly between distinctive and easy to wear, plus with that ALD cosign to really appeal to people in the know. No surprise that a collaboration between two hot brands right now is going to be popular. Not quite the only New Balance thing though, quite a few 2002 R releases, both general release colorways, which still sell out fairly quickly, and a fairly unusual collaboration from Joe Freshgoods. I've not really seen anyone talk about them. There have been a few releases under this collaboration. I think this is the most mature and sophisticated one though, with these whites and creams, kind of enhancing the natural depth of the 2002 R with that multi-panel upper. This is a great example of a really cool limited release, the 2002 R Protection Pack, propelling the success of a model and getting people more interested in other collaborations and general release kind of regular shoes. This is by far the last we'll be seeing of the 2002 R though, I'm sure of that. Don't forget the recent Kith collaboration as well. There are a few different models here. Again, my favourite were the 990 V4 with United Arrows. It's got this kind of vaporwave pink and purple thing going on. I kind of like that, I'm down with that. Let's move off New Balance now and talk about some more unconventional brands, because no one really talks about Saucony, but this Shadow 6000 release with Chinese store costs I think looks great. Releases on July the 2nd, and it's got this kind of mathematical, geometric, three-dimensional thing going on. Great if you like the technical aesthetics that we talk about a lot on the channel, but you want to move away from the prescribed uniform of Nike and Acronym and 11 by BBS releases. Definitely some personality here, and one for the non-conformists. I'd also consider the recent ASICS and Kiko Kostadinov collaboration fairly offbeat, even though the two working together is very well known by this point. These link-ups are generally not for everyone, because Kiko tends to render these new silhouettes in ultra bright colorways, but I'd like to think this latest release is a little bit more wearable than those. To give them their full name, the ASICS and Kiko Kostadinov HS4S Gel-Sonoma 1550 GTX. They really hit us with the nuclear launch codes for that one. They're more outdoor fashion inspired than previous releases, and the GTX lining ensures all-weather suitability. Not sure which colorway I like the most though. Maybe you want some more conventional things though. That's cool, you don't want your whole sneaker wardrobe super weird. I actually quite like the Air Force One Fontanka. It's a women's release, but one which updates the classic Air Force One silhouette in a couple of subtle ways. These changes to the paneling feel like enough to make a bit of a difference, but without disrupting the overall silhouette too much. Because sometimes Nike go a little bit too far trying to make stuff different. There's also an upcoming Dunk High. You probably don't need me to tell you about dunks, but these ones called the Double Swoosh, again, just have that little bit of variation, and I imagine they're the kind of things that people will sleep on in favor of Pandas or whatever else the most recent hyped colorway is going to be. Let's say you want something that's guaranteed respect from the homies though. Eye-catching, but also classic. Look no further than the Nike and Hello Kitty Air Presto. Just look at that beautiful blue color contrasting with the white, the skillful application of Hello Kitty heads, the Hello Kitty embossed on the heel. And can we talk about the box real quick, because that is just top tier. Honestly, these are a bit of fun, and respect to anyone with the confidence to pull these off. The just released Nike and Off-White Air Force 1 Mid also has a pretty great box. I don't know if it's just me, but a fun box just makes me that little bit more keen on picking something up. In this case though, I don't know, I'm struggling to get too excited about the shoe itself. It's got this kind of weird pattern on the upper, and the multicolored pleats make reference to past releases, but don't feel quite as integrated here. Definitely a technical look though, so I could see these in the middle of winter, paired up with a nice jacket and some cargos or something. I don't know, what do you think about these ones? I said I'd return to the sandals. There's two more to consider. Firstly, if you're feeling luxurious, the Jill Sander Nubuck sandals. These kind of mix classic menswear and a little bit more technical thanks to that buckle on the side. I feel that gives them a lot of versatility, and they'll certainly be a luxurious feeling shoe. Just pray you can stomach that retail price. For a more affordable alternative though, the Birkenstock and Ader era Arizona Tech. How could we ignore something with tech in the name? And in this case, it comes from the buckles providing a fun update versus the classic. It's a little bit pricey compared to the regular version, but it is going to stand out. So if you value not just wearing the usual stuff, you might get a kick out of these. That said though, of course, the regular Birkenstock Arizona has very good availability. That's much cheaper. You can wear them with probably almost any outfit, so they'd still be a great alternative. There's a Nike and Matthew M. Williams shoe on the horizon, the 005, fitting into the Croc alternative trend, and actually quite similar to the Elite slip-on. Could be a nice affordable alternative to those. No release date on them yet, but keep an eye out for them coming hopefully soon. The last MMW shoe I thought was really interesting. The only downside was that because they were so complicated and experimental, they were very expensive, so hopefully these ones being a single material design will be a lot more affordable. One more for the road, just because I haven't talked about Adidas much, the newly released Wales Bonner collab is another one which makes great use of texture. Fits into that comfy casual menswear thing that's pretty popular at the moment, and another one for fans of detail as well. I particularly like the lace update here with this two-tone little patterned thing that's going on. There's two models here, the Samba and the newly introduced Country, but it's the Samba that's the winner here for me. Far from what we'd normally feature on the channel, of course, but I actually quite like the look of these. I think we featured more shoes than ever before. I'm going to stick a couple more in the pin board as well, but it's over to you, of course. Let me know which of these were your favorites, if any stood out to you, and if there's any you thought I missed as well, because together we can make this the definitive summer sneaker list. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give it a like if you did. It is massively appreciated. I think we're going to take a break from videos next week, but we'll be back after that, so make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss the next one when it comes out. Catch you then.